Hey y'all, this is Vienna with Acrylic Libby. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while, but let's get into today's project. Today I'll be working with these 12-ounce double-walled acrylic tumblers. These specifically are from Mother Tumbler. You can use my code Vienna10 with them to save. They are pre-drilled. They come with the plugs, which is super helpful. And if you don't follow me on my other social media, the reason I've been so MIA recently is because I am pregnant. I'm now 8 months pregnant, so peep the little baby bump there. So some supplies I used in this process are these squeeze bottles. They are optional. You don't have to use them, but it does make it a little easier. And I'm going to be using this Premixed Snow Globe solution from Adhesive Apothecary in the medium flow. If you shop with them, you can use my code Vienna10 with them as well to save. I'm going to start by pouring just a little bit of that solution into the tumbler. This is going to help with any clumping at the rim there. And as always, I'm going to be using glitters from It's Pretty Personal. Again, use my code Vienna10 to save. I'll link all these suppliers below for you so you can check them out. And I was going for this pinky mauve color in a way. So I'm just blending some chunky glitters, and I always get asked how much glitter to put. I just measure with my heart. I really don't have a set amount, but you can kind of see here more or less how much I'm putting in. And again, optional, I use a paper funnel around the cup to help kind of keep all that glitter in place while I'm putting the glitter in. I personally like to use my massage gun to get the glitter inside. It makes the process a lot faster. And I should have done this in the beginning, but make sure you put a piece of paper down that helps catch any of your extra glitter that may fall out during this process. That way you don't waste anything. So again, you can kind of see more or less how much glitter I put in the cup here. I'm using this dry brush to help brush off any excess. And then I'm going to take anything that fell onto the paper and pour it back into the cup, because again, we're not trying to waste anything here. I'll also take a second here to show you how I've seen other creators put their glitter in. They just kind of scoop it into the hole. That's also another option if you feel more comfortable doing it that way. Do it as best for you. I'm always going to say that. Once I have all the glitter in my tumbler, I'm going to go in with that same solution and fill it up the rest of the way, mixing the glitter in the solution while I'm filling. That's again going to help with any clumping. I see that question come up a lot as well. And when you're filling these tumblers, you're going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to put any more in, but you are going to see an air pocket there that you need to fill. So again, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. So first thing I'm going to do is, again, try to fill this tumbler up as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to do this first by tilting my tumbler, making sure I get any air pockets that I can get right now full. And I'm also going to see more or less where my bubble's at. This size is actually not that bad, but I did realize in this process that I'm showing you right here, there was an issue, which we'll get into later. But first, I'm going to fill my tumbler and actually overfill it. Grab my syringe, it is angled here, and I'm going to put it into that air pocket that's right there next to the hole and essentially suck the air out of the cup. This will allow the solution to flow into the cup as I'm sucking that air out. It's a little hard to see it here because this is a clear cup and the water's clear, so it's hard to see. But I also went in with some rubbing alcohol to help pop any of those little micro bubbles. You can see that little air pocket there. It was around this part of the process I noticed there was something wrong. Like, no matter how much I was filling this tumbler up, it was not filling. So I went ahead and leak tested it, and it turns out there was a little bit of a leak coming from the rim of this cup. So I'm going to show you how you can fix that. I'm going to start by prepping my cup. I'm using a 60 grit sanding block to just very lightly sand that tumbler rim, and then I'm grabbing some rubbing alcohol to wipe away any of the little dust particles. You don't want any of that while you're going into this next step. I'm using the Resin Rockers UV resin, the classic version. You can use my code Vienna10 with them to save. And I'm going to apply a very thin layer just around the rim. And once I get it all the way around, I just grab a popsicle stick and smooth that out to make sure it's nice, flat, and smooth. And I'm also going to just clean the inside of the tumbler just to make sure I didn't get anything on the inside. You don't want that UV resin inside your cup. Once I got that all cleaned on the inside and also the outside, you want to make sure, again, it's just on the rim because that's where the leak is coming from. I'm going to grab my Magic Cure lamp, which is also from Resin Rockers. You can use my code Vienna10 with them to save, and cure based off the instructions provided. I leak tested it again and there was no leak coming from the rim, so I went ahead and removed my temporary plug and continue with the process. I didn't show it before, but the temporary plug, I just plugged in that plug that the tumbler came with and then applied some UV resin over, just one layer, just so I could, again, test this tumbler out and find where the leak was coming from. So continuing on with this process, I am going to continue where I left off and just use that syringe to pull out any of the air and get that solution into the tumbler while pulling that air out. I did repeat this process as many times as it was necessary to get, that bubble as small as possible. You can see here it's actually bigger than it was before because of how much was leaking out in the beginning of the process. And I'm going to kind of speed through the next part here because I'm just doing the process over and over and over again. It got a little frustrating only because the air pocket moves around, so I'm constantly having to stop, readjust that air pocket, and get that solution in there. But eventually you'll get to a point where you're happy with the amount of air that is in there. I actually do recommend leaving just a small air bubble in these tumblers. It just helps move that glitter around nice and smoothly. You can see the air bubble did get a lot smaller here compared to where we were before. So I'm happy with this and I'm ready to go ahead and seal my snow globe. So I'm going to grab that plug that the tumbler came with, place it into the hole, make sure that my surface is dry, and then I'm going to grab that sanding block again and just give it a light sand down. Again, this is going to help the UV resin adhere to that acrylic surface. And then I'm also going to clean that with some rubbing alcohol to remove any of those dust particles. Also be sure that your surface is completely dry before going in with your UV resin. So after I dried that, I went in with that classic UV resin, again from Resin Rockers, and I just put it over the hole first, and I hit that with my lighter to pop any air bubbles in the UV resin, and then I cured it based off the instructions. And I did this off camera, but I did leak test this. I did not see any leaks coming from this tumbler. I was super happy with this, and I was ready to go ahead and finish this tumbler off. This is obviously optional, but I do like to add the care instructions to the bottom of the tumbler just in case anyone forgets that these are hand wash only. After I applied that little decal, I went in with just one more coat of UV resin. Normally I would glitter the bottom, but because this is a clear snow globe, you see the glitter, you just need to go in with one more coat. But again, totally optional. You don't have to do this part. And I grabbed my lighter again, applied some heat to pop any air bubbles in the UV resin, cured it. Once that was done, I cleaned the outside of my tumbler with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm going to apply a UV DTF decal. I have been using these all year. I just haven't made any videos with me actually using them. They are much better quality than your regular vinyl decals or printed decals. They are gonna last you what seems like a lifetime. So this one specifically is from Mother Tumbler. You can use my code Vienna10 with them to save. I just thought this decal, the colors matched perfectly with the glitter. You apply them just like a regular decal. You smooth it out, you remove that film, and you're done. That's it. You do not have to seal this over with epoxy. And this is the final result. I am super happy with how this came out. Really love the colors. I know the process seemed long, but I definitely wanted to show you guys those helpful tips and tricks that I have picked up along the way as well. And I hope they help you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I know I haven't been around as much, but if you haven't done so already, make sure you go follow me on my other social media platforms. I'm more active on those pages, And also, if you haven't joined our Facebook community, we have over 17,000 members in the Facebook group Snow Globe Tumblers and more. We have had some really big giveaways this year, and I plan to do maybe one more around the holiday season. So again, stay tuned for that. Make sure you are a member and join, especially if you need help or just want to show off your creations to others. I hope all this information helped. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you hit the follow button and subscribe to get notified anytime a new video comes out, and I will talk to you all soon.